Hi, welcome to my creative corner. This is Claudette Stampin' with Miss Puff, and today I want to go over some little tips that I use with my Stampin' Trimmer besides scoring and trimming. Let me start by saying this trimmer has a base that's 6¼ inches. That's all the base you need to make your average cards. You have incremental areas of 1/4 inch, and that top area is coated so it don't fade. You have an arm that extends to 40½ inches, and they provide a leg that comes out that gives that arm extra support. Now on your gauge, now that's 13 inches long, so you could cut your 12 by 12 papers easily. And you also have your blades and your scoring tool there as well. You have the edge to the top that keeps your paper secured, so you station it and you could cut it nice and straight. You have that side on the right, that smaller area that cut your smaller paper. You have a latch to the top that keeps that lock, and so it doesn't flop around and break off. And then also what they provide to the bottom is a clear compartment that you could store your extra cutting tools, your bone folder, and even dimensionals if you will. And you have 2 areas that it latches down on. Now this trimmer is like 3/4 inches off your work area, like the height of it. So what I'm going to get right into now is show you the little tips and tricks that I use with this trimmer besides cutting and scoring. You could buy stitch framelit dies from Stampin' Up! And create a stitch look on your card. But if you don't have those, you could create this design with this trimmer and a piercing tool. So what we're going to do is get a piece of cardstock, and we're going to put that cardstock right in the groove where the cutting blade comes down. And you're going to get your piercing tool, and you're going to go ahead and make little puncture marks within your cardstock. You're going to stay within that groove where the blades usually run. It's nice with the grid on the stamping trimmer, so you could measure each side, so you could get even, your lines are even on each side, fairly even on each side. So you're going to turn those around, your cardstock around, and you're going to make those puncture marks on each side to create that design like the stitch framelit dies. And those dies comes, if I didn't mention it before, in squares, ovals, and circles, and you need your big shot to run that through as well. So when I'm done, this is a design that I got using the piercing tool and the stamping trimmer. Now I'm going to show you the one on the right with the colored rooster. Is I used the stitch framelit dies and I ran it through the big shot. So that's one way I got creative if you don't have those exact tools. Another tip that I use the Stampin' Trimmer for is we have a stamp that is called the Buffalo Check. It's one large stamp. It's pretty neat because then you can make all kind of checkered look with different colors. With this one, I used Bermuda Bay against white cardstock. And I'm going to enhance that design using a marker. And you need a ruler. And I've seen some demonstrators use a clear ruler. And I'm going to use the Stampin' Right marker in chocolate chip. This marker is retired, so whatever color combination you want to use. You could use a solid marker, but like if you use it, you can't really necessarily see both sides of your work. You kind of hide some of the checkered area. So I like the clear ruler. Like I said, I didn't have any clear ruler, so I decided to use this so you could see both sides of your work and exactly where you want to put your markings. So you're going to keep your blades to the bottom of your work. And I'm going to line up the area right in that groove where the blades run. I'm going to focus here. I'm going to use the side of the marker, not the tip. And I'm going to support that against the ruler and come straight down. You could make them as thin or as thick as you want. You could even double up and do two different tones of lines right next to each other, which you'll see in a card that I make to the end. And I think this is nice if you have shaky hands, if you have classes, and you have older people who have shaky hands. And you could try to see if it works for them, if that would provide them with a straighter line. Like I said, you could use any color combination that your heart desires. So I'm going to demonstrate one more line. And then you'll flip it on the other side and then you'll draw your lines down. And what I went ahead and did was I stamped another one in Balmy Blue, and I used the same Stampin' Right marker in the chocolate chip and made these lines. And I had a stamp set called Home to Roost with the little roosters that you saw earlier, and I made this card using the same techniques that I demonstrated. And you could see on this card I used the little stitch outlines using the piercing tools, and you could see I did double lines on my markings. I used two different shades of the brown. Thank you for checking in. Please subscribe, like, and share. Happy stamping.